What? Ah!
The Dragon's Fury is a unique flamethrower, if we can even call it that. In practice, it's more like a flare cannon in its behavior, shooting singular fireballs that do extra damage to flaming targets. The weapon also reloads faster upon hitting a target, combining that with the triple damage against burning targets, and it just goes to show that this weapon heavily incentivizes precision and punishes lackluster aim with a really poor damage output. This emphasis on accuracy is reinforced with the weapon's lack of afterburn duration and a hidden stat that prevents the bonus damage from kicking in if the center of the projectile doesn't make contact with the target. The weapon also comes with a 1.6 second firing lockout after using the air blast, making it massively more punishing compared to all the other pyro is not a pie. Pyro primaries that have it, sometimes making the air blast straight up impractical to use in some cases. With all this being said, the Dragon's Fury is definitely an oddity amongst the other flamethrowers, so with it being so different, it's gotta have a different playstyle, right? Pyro's flamethrowers encourage ambush or surprise attacks, and while you still want to do that with the Dragon's Fury, it also encourages more aggressive tactics, with its heavy incentive to keep the pressure on with its requirement of consecutive hits for maximum damage. The damage on the Dragon's Fury is nothing to scoff at either. If you can hit your shots, the thing is rather potent, basically acting like a single slug incendiary shotgun that never needs to be reloaded. The pierce on the projectile is great for damaging multiple enemies if the situation arises, though good luck surviving the focus fire. The Dragon's Fury also gives Pyro something he can't get with any other primary weapon: corner peeking. While it is range limited due to the nature of a flamethrower, it's a pretty effective way to get off the first shot with relative safety. The Dragon's Fury also is a good building buster, believe it or not. If you're able to be in a situation where you can safely peek a sentry gun, or you're just Ubered in,
yeah.
The Dragon's Fury does its full damage on buildings and gets the reload bonus from hitting them. But how does it do that when it only does 25 damage to non-burning targets, though? Well, to put it simply, the stat where you do triple damage to burning players, well, flip that stat from this to this, and it makes a bit more sense. Now, so far, the Dragon's Fury seems like a really good weapon, and it is a good weapon, but good weapons do have their downsides, well, at least most do. And the first part of the balance for the Dragon's Fury is its main talking point, the fact that it is a precision weapon. Similarly to the Engineer's Widowmaker, if you hit your shots, you get rewarded with more damage overall, but it comes with the downside of harsher penalties if you happen to miss. For the Dragon's Fury, you get a high rate of fire and loads more damage if you can hit your shots back to back, but you lose out on both those if you miss, amounting to a rather pitiful amount of damage. That's not it though. Like all flamethrowers, it's got to have an air blast penalty, and the Dragon's Fury's air blast penalty is probably the harshest one, excluding the Flog, which straight up doesn't have it. To start, the total amount of air blast you can have at once is 8, which is 2 less than stock. Not too bad, Degreaser has to deal with that anyway, but on top of that, the weapon has a minus 50% repressurization rate on alt fire, meaning it takes a whopping 1.6 seconds for you to be able to fire the air blast again. For point of reference, that's enough time for a soldier to shoot 2 rockets exactly, or a demo man to easily double pipe you while the air blast is still on cooldown. And if that isn't bad enough, due to the Dragon's Fury's shared pressure tank stat, the reset time of the air blast also applies to the primary fire function of the Dragon's Fury, meaning not only can you not air blast for 1.6 seconds, you cannot do anything with your primary for 1.6 seconds. So once you do use your air blast, the best thing you can do is just try to play around the firing lockout, but for already mentioned reasons that probably won't work out for you. But a much better way to deal with this self-imposed stun, though, is just use a shotgun. While the Dragon's Fury can be used more independently from your secondary compared to other flamethrowers due to the burst damage being built into the function of the weapon, you should never undervalue a good old-fashioned spray of buckshot. Whether it's Jumpy Scout you just can't seem to get the last fireball on, or a Pyro you just can't seem to keep on fire enough to get the full damage on, a good meat shot can help put you on top. Also, did you know that you can force people to fly? If you didn't know, if you hit someone's feet while using the Dragon's Fury while they are also on fire, it will pop them into the air, not unlike how soldiers do it with their rocket launchers, which can lead nicely into a swift skeet shot out of the sky. And while you can do this with the other Pyro flamethrowers by using the Air Blast, the Dragon's Fury has the advantage of doing that pop fly strategy at a distance, which no other flamethrower is capable of for obvious reasons. As for flare guns, though, due to the Dragon's Fury's short afterburn window, the window of opportunity to take advantage of the flare bonus is significantly smaller, so use of it is a bit impractical. Besides, the Dragon's Fury is a giant flare gun in the primary slot, so it's a bit redundant as well. On the subject of the weapon's short afterburn, tracking invisible spies becomes a little more difficult as the spy cloak cuts debuff timers in half, of which afterburn is a said debuff, meaning you only have on average 1.5 seconds to tag the spy again if you want to keep them alive to track them more easily. This also goes for targets actively being healed by a medic, leaving you almost no room for error if you want to keep dealing effective damage to either the medic or the pocket, as healing reduces afterburn time significantly, though the fact that the projectile pierces does help you hit the medic behind the pocket. If anything, the medic is harder to deal with by himself than the medic pocket combo. Wait, what? Why would a medic on his own be harder to deal with than a medic combo? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the Dragon's Fury's projectile hitbox is deleted by syringes. And this isn't limited to just syringes though. In fact, all these projectiles here are able to render the fireballs null and void if they happen to collide with it. The syringe gun just happens to be the biggest offender because it can shoot a lot of these fireball deleters in quick succession. The weapon also has a bug similar to the Rap Assassin where the projectile won't work on certain parts of the map due to how Hammer compiles terrain. Granted, it's not as bad as the Rap Assassin, but it is still notable. But these bugs have been in the game for 4 years ever since the last major update, so all of it's old news at this point. The Dragon's Fury, a capable weapon in skilled hands, but hindered by a debilitating downside and some buggy projectiles. I love this weapon to death, provided there are no scouts, but sometimes the issues with this thing just makes me want to, well, not use it. Will Valve ever fix the projectiles being deleted? Probably not anytime soon. They haven't fixed it in 4 years, so they probably won't now. Either way, the Dragon's Fury is still a fun weapon to use from time to time if you want a change of pace from the flow of Pyro's other primaries. Thank you for watching. I apologize for the long delay between videos. School has been sapping a lot of my energy to work on this kind of stuff, but good news is that I'm done with high school for good, graduating class of 2021. So I'll have more time to do this kind of stuff as well as working on more of my art. But this also means I have to start preparing to save up to become self-sufficient with this stuff. With that, I am opening my first set of commissions over on my Twitter. They are first come, first serve, and I'm only starting with 4 slots to take it slow to get accommodated with the commission workflow, so get them while they last. I enjoy making this stuff for you guys, and I want to keep doing that. With school out of the way now, I'll have way more free time to do videos for you guys, so keep your eyes open for new videos sometime soon. And remember, eat an apple every morning. You'll thank me later.